The Kabbalah teaches that every human soul is a delicate balance of good and evil. And that is how God creates our free choice. Is it such a fine line between making the right choice or the wrong choice, the good one or the evil one? Now, when we look at things like murder and the biggest crimes that a person can commit, then you wonder, how does a person get to the level of being a murderer? And so, of course, it's in all the criminology books will teach you about the psychology of a psychopath that becomes a person who kills other people because of political ideas or other social ideas, religious ideas. All this killing in the name of these ideas, where's that coming from? Is it coming from the ideas? No, it's coming from a much deeper place inside a person who's capable of doing such evil things. So that deeper place, of course, is the depth of evil. When a person has made so many bad choices for so long, he creates a wall between his own goodness, and it's kind of vanquished from him. And all he has left is his evil self that he's been, exercising very astutely for many years. And now all he's got is left. He's lost his choice of good. And such a person can easily believe that someone needs to die, because this person doesn't contain that spark of his own good soul, because he's done so many things against his good soul. Now, what those are, it's all in the books. Start with the 10 Commandments and work from there, and everybody can find himself very clearly in the mirror. But when we're dealing with a person who believes that another person should die because of politics, because of personal opinions, that's a greater level of that wall. The wall's gotten even thicker, separating good and evil in the person's soul. And so he's not going to get out of that wall, most likely. And the Bible comes along and says, if he does it with a warning, he gets a warning, they tell him what's going to happen, and then there are witnesses, then we invoke the Beit Din, the court of the rabbis, invokes the death penalty according to the nature of that sin, that murder. Because in the Bible, the punishments are equivalent on a spiritual level to the actual crime. So if it's, for example, a person will die by fire by doing a sin of lust, and a person can die by by stoning with a giant boulder in the middle of your chest for bestiality, craziness, right? But it's there to give us guidelines. So what we have, and we look now at the world and all these political crimes, these murders, the attempted murders, is still, in some places that's good enough to get the death penalty. And so when we engage that level of disconnection in the person, the Bible says you got to kill him. Because the killing him gives him another chance to start again. Dying by the law of the Torah, it actually frees the soul for a new chance to go back to heaven and reincarnate in a new life to refix it and learn what he needs to learn and fix. So the sages look at the death penalty as a kindness to the person who can't get free of his own evil. Now, most people, you can't bring that into a civil court today. Expect to carry much water, maybe down in Texas, somewhere down there. But the truth is, you look at it, that's the way the Kabbalah describes it. The nature of our soul is this continuum of energy that can be devoted to good or evil, and they're opposite ends of this energy spectrum. Now, how do you say that? How do you prove it? Well, we've seen it so many times in our history, in our literature, in our traditions and legends. about these principles that after a while you say, they can't make up everything. And, you can't make up everything in Judaism. It's too big a religion. You got 100,000 books to start with. And they're just commenting on the other books that everybody else knows. Now, those comments elucidate for us our daily lives when it makes the distinctions. And when a person goes to kill another person because he doesn't like his politics, he doesn't like what he says, he doesn't like his influence over others, he's jealous of his power in other realms, he makes a decision, a murderous decision. But it seems like a lot of trouble for some young guy to go murder people and be on the spectrum of sexual confusion, let's call it. That's a nice phrase. Spectrum of sexual confusion. I like that. But we got to have names for what we're talking about, because otherwise we can't talk. Right? So when a person is on this spectrum, he can be convinced of things by others who have a more malevolent intent, because they align in their intent, and one can provoke the other to go to the next level. And now we understand why the Bible says, no, we need a death penalty before anybody sets out to do anything. They have to know ahead of time they're going to face the death penalty. Now, that doesn't always work. That deterrent doesn't work with a truly insane person. They don't care about dying. And we have, hundreds of thousands of them in the Middle East, and probably another couple 100,000 all around the world. I don't know how many, but there's a lot. Anybody who believes in global jihad is a terrorist. Now, it might not be a terrorist with his hands, but it could be a terrorist with his pen, with his computer, with his mouth, etc. And the world is resisting the duality, the polarity of good and evil that's going on right now. The world doesn't want it to be that black and white. Well, ask ourselves that question. Why? Why don't we want it to be that clear? What do we have to hide? Maybe we have to start with that question this month of Elul, the month of return to the King. We'll be talking again. God bless.